Wow, was that body wet? Jesus, that's massive. Hello, and welcome to chapter 4 of You and Him. This is a yandere dating sim when one of the most famous musicians in the world is obsessed with you. In this chapter, you finally wake up and find yourself in the clutches of Saffron and Adam. And as you find out that your aunt is dead and Adam has leverage over you, how are you going to handle the situation and Adam's growing attraction to you? Let's get started. Yay, chapter 4 time. Oh, we're starting with Adam's POV. Alright, restrain him. Don't let him escape. Okay, I guess we're starting off pretty strong. Hold him right there. There's a cacophony of voices as chaos bursts through the doors of the church. Adam trips over his feet on a piece of raised carpet rolled through the center aisle of the pews. In his frantic bid to escape the men hunting him down, the copper tang of the blood flooding his mouth when he accidentally bites his own tongue, he flips onto his back, trying to kick at the hands wrapping around his ankles, jerking him forward and into their grasp. Tears sting in his eyes, but he forces them back as he puts up a fight, while the men wrangle him into a standing position, pinning his arms behind his back in order to prevent him from flashing out further. Let me go, he screams as they cover his head with a burlap sack, fear entrenching him in a thick sludge that weighs him down. He's shaking so hard his teeth chatter. Oh, poor baby. I know he's a killer and all, but it's very clear that he's traumatized and has, repressed religious trauma. But he has to remain strong. He has to. It's the first thing he was taught. If you lose to fear, it's all over before it even starts. Let me go. He tries kicking a leg out, but he's shoved back into the ground. When it's clear he's going to go willingly and he's half drug in what feels like the opposite direction of the double doors, Adam stumbles up the stairs leading up to where he sure is, the altar. Dread crawls up his spine at the realization that they cornered him here like a trapped animal for a reason. But what he doesn't understand, he's done nothing wrong. Nothing to warrant this sort of treatment, so why? He grunts as he's twisted around and shoved into something that forces him to bow at the waist. What? A fist grabs the back of the burlap sack covering his head, before shoving his face into something cold that steals the breath from his lungs and robs him of thought as he gags. He can't breathe. He tries bugging his captors off him, choking on what he now realizes is water, as it floods his lungs and stings his nostrils. His attempts at breaking free completely useless. Soft chanting begins above him. It starts slow before building. All the men's voices united as one. Is it a hymn? A prayer? A curse? Something else? He can't tell. The words are muffled as he silently screams into the water, bubbles rising around him as he expels precious air in the moment of fear and confusion. He tries to keep himself conscious, but the darkness of the burlap sack is starting to become all-encompassing. He's starting to fade. His body weakens and he's going slack, the calm of dying settling over his body when he's yanked out from his watery grave. He sputters and coughs, his body desperate to drain out the water that entered him as a razor light peeked through the burlap sack. Hope rises. Adam tries warding off his captors, thrashing around again when he's forced back into the water, despair taking over once more as darkness bleeds in. How long are they going to do this? Until he passes out, dies. The second time around, he's weaker than the first, worn as his body begs for air. Someone, help me. It's a pathetic thought, weak and spineless. And yet he can't help but plead for a savior, just like he did when he was little. Back then, there was always one person he could run to whenever he got a scraped knee or hurt himself, and broke his arm when trying to climb a tree to pet a cat. One person who always came through no matter what. A woman with brown wavy hair that matched his own, who used to hum while she stood over a stove in their tiny little kitchen, her feet bare against the yellow tire when he ran up to her with tears in his eyes. Is she calling him now? He can almost smell the aster flowers from the field behind their old home. They envelop him in their scent. He imagines a familiar presence approaching him, her touch gentle as she lays her hand upon his head, her bottom lip quivering at the sight of him so bruised. Can I go home now? He asks. He's starting to feel oddly warm and at peace, and he wants to go wherever she is. But the presence shakes her head, her brown hair swishing around her face like a halo and her eyes watery. Why can't I? Is it because I failed to fulfill my promise? The warm presence opens her mouth to speak. Right as he's dragged out of the water a second time, he sags into the arms of the men trying their best to kill him. Why? He quakes out, water gurgling from his lips. Why are we doing this? The men don't answer. Instead, a new voice chimes in, their footsteps echoing as they come into a position on the opposite side of the altar, their shadow causing a shift in light through the burlap sack. Because the newcomer says simply, this is one of the punishments for complete disobedience. Adam freezes at that. He recognizes the voice. He'd know it from anywhere. He tries calling out, begging for him to stop, and because he gets it now, he understands. But before he can, he's submerged once more, the salt of his tears mixing with the water as his cries are lost beneath the surface. His voice stripped from him as he's held in place and the world goes dark once more. Aww, I feel so bad, leave him alone. Poor Adam. He never pleads for her help again, because he knows she can't help him. Not anymore. Adam opens his eyes, half expecting to find himself in that position once again, only to find he's still sitting between the church pews with his arms crossed over his chest. Near the podium is where all the fun is taking place. A man who isn't Adam pleads for forgiveness as his face gets shoved into a basin full of icy cold holy water. Adam keeps his expression neutral as the man struggles. It's not the torture that bothers him. He's damn well acquainted with waterboarding. It's a message behind the torture that sinks like a lead in his stomach. He wasn't called just for a meeting, but to see the results of what disobedience can lead to. A reminder for him not to stray. Adam's first experience with the cleansing was meant to deter him from acting out and betraying those he swore his loyalty to. The following ones are just more reminders in case he forgot the first go around. He came out of them alive. The same can't be said for the man with his head still locked in the basin. There's no chanting, no prayer. Nothing for the man who's going to die because he went against the oath. The man gets pulled again by the scruff of his neck. Gurgling noises elicited from his throat as he strains to speak. Water staining the front of his white button-up. Adam guesses he's some sort of government official who got too cocky and assumed his connections would keep him safe. The man clearly underestimated his will. I like how the H in his is capitalized because I'm pretty sure this refers to the god figure that Saffron was speaking to in the last chapter. And how many people are under his oath? My family, he shouts, no doubt in a last-ditch effort to save his tail after learning threats of his own connections didn't work. They won't survive without me. At least let me see them. He's dunked back under. His words cut off as he's held under. It's easy to figure out what his final request is. They always want to see their family before they're killed. Some trying to use the tactic in order to gain mercy from their would-be murder. Adam knows because he's heard the same damn line more times than he can count. He recognizes every plea, speech, and demand they can drum up just from the first syllable alone. And yet, Adam never saw you coming. That's because I haven't come yet. Drumming his fingers along the base of his thigh, Adam checks his phone on reflex for news about your current condition. Nothing from Saffron. Adam sneers as he shoves the photo back into his pocket, scowling as he leans back into his seat. Of course not. Saffron said the surgery went well, and you're recovering from it, but you haven't woken up yet. The reason you passed out in the first place was due to you going into hypovolemic shock when your aunt shot you with the .22 caliber handgun she kept lying around. It's a shame that my aunt is dead, but also she never really did anything for me anyway, so meh. Saffron then tried going into explanations about your x-ray and other medical related jargon that Adam didn't give two shits about, to which he finally had to interrupt him and demand to know if you were going to live or not. Saffron never gave him a direct answer. Useless. Adam mutters. At the very least, Saffron better tell him whether or not you keeled over. He deserves to know that much. Glancing back up towards the robed men, he sees that they're now carrying the dead corpse of the man they were drowning down the steps of the dais like pallbearers would when lifting a coffin at the end of a funeral. He watches as foam drips on the man's lips. His empty gaze remains trained above them, and Adam looks up to find a mosaic depicting the exact moment when his namesake accepted the fruit from the tree of knowledge. What an annoying reminder. He looks down sharply, his jaw ticking in annoyance. Another message or a coincidence? Adam couldn't tell, as there were rarely coincidences whenever he's involved. He learned that lesson a long time ago. As soon as the double door shut behind the group of robed men, Adam pulls himself up from the pew and heads towards the confessional booth. He closes the wooden door behind him before he takes a seat on the wooden bench, settling back against the wall, waiting about 10 to 15 minutes until he hears a distinct click on the other side. Another minute passes before the center window opens to reveal a wire meshing and blinding white light. Adam looks away from the eye strain. Saffron told me you called him, said you wanted to see me. Now, Adam, that's not how we conduct ourselves here. You know as well as I do what a confessional booth is for. Adam's eyes cut towards the window before regret sets in and he's forced to look away. How much does he know? What are you implying? There's a soft, almost amicable chuckle from the other side. I'm not implying anything, my child. But surely there's something you'd like to share. After all, the light glows brighter through the window and Adam flinches at the sunless salt on his retinas. He's forced to look away. You never told me you were injured. So imagine my surprise when I found out through the tabloids that you'd gotten hurt on a hike and never said a word about it to me, but deigned to tell the rest of the world through an interview. Why would you keep something like that from me? I thought we were always honest with each other, Adam. Adam doesn't react right away. He already saw this coming from a mile away the moment Saffron informed him that he called, wishing to speak with Adam one-on-one. He needs to keep his answers vague enough to avoid outright lying, but not so much that he raises suspicion. Adam keeps his voice level as he responds. I wasn't keeping it from you. I got busy, that's all. You know how I am when it comes to work. Then what about the truth of that injury? I know you didn't get it from a simple stroll on the mountainside. Here comes the annoying part. My last target got lucky. I got one strike in, but they've been handled. It won't happen again. Silence. Adam's eyes skirt towards the light on the other side of the confessional, noticing that it flickers every few minutes. There's no visible sign of anyone on the other side of the booth, but his presence is usually easy to feel, especially when it comes to the shift in his moods, like the air itself is changing. Right now though, Adam can't feel anything, and that in and of itself fills Adam with an overwhelming sense of dread as the silence stretches, drawn out further by Adam refusing to break down and admit to all of his sins. Adam knows that's what he's waiting for For him to crack under the pressure and share the things he might not have found out otherwise. But if he does, he loses the one possible lead that he has, you. So Adam bites his lip so hard, he tastes the tang of blood on his tongue. When it's clear that Adam refuses to budge, there's a soft tap, tap, tap coming from the other side of the confessional booth. The rhythm reminds Adam of dripping water, and he's reminded of the cleansing he witnessed earlier, of the water trickling from the dead man's parted lips as he stared up into the void that comes with his death as the road men carried him off. Adam swallows hard, his breath's coming quicker. He's shaking so hard. He's almost certain he can sense Adam's building dread and looming guilt. Still, Adam keeps quiet. When he speaks again, there's only cold detachment devoid of any concern or warmth as he prods further. And how exactly did they manage to get lucky? No one's ever pulled the wool over your eyes. So I find it hard to believe that there isn't more to what happened. Free yourself of this burden you're carrying, Adam. Tell me what they did. I don't understand why it's so freaking important if I already told you I've taken care of it. Language. The hiss of that single word makes Adam flinch. You know I loathe that sort of vulgarity. You would not utter such words in the presence of your lord. I know, I'm sorry. If you're sorry, then answer my previous question. I only ask because I'm worried about you, my child. And just like that, his earlier warmth returns just as quickly as it left. You trust me, don't you? I've proven myself to you, haven't I? I've cared for you, sheltered you, done everything in my power to give you the push you needed to get where you are today. I know, I didn't have to. I could have abandoned you, walked away and let you rot, but here I am trying to understand you. Let me understand you, Adam. Manipulative and awful, I'm feeling worse and worse for him. Adam closes his eyes and lets his head fall into his hands, his fingers carding through his hair. You should tell him. He needed to tell him. About you and how weak and impulsive and stupid he became whenever you were involved. How much that single freaking kiss changed everything for him. How it haunted him. How he almost tried to kiss you again until you got interrupted. How he almost gave in. He should admit to his weakness and be done with you, but he needs you. And if God were to discover Adam's reluctance, no matter the reasoning or excuses, he knows for a fact God would order him to finish the job. You could hold all of the answers Adam needs, and God wouldn't care because Adam took an oath to obey his will, and would argue that your continued existence would only taint him further and distract him from extracting his information. You already did it once, so what's to stop you from doing it again? He knows God will force his hand as a mean to protect himself and these shameful feelings, but Adam's already made up his mind. You're staying alive for as long as he freaking needs you. I got careless and cocky. I underestimated them and they grabbed a hold of my knife and used it against me. That's all there is to it. So nothing inherently special about what they did, other than you underestimating them. Nothing at all. Adam doesn't answer, allowing him to fill in the blanks for himself. I see. Very well then. The soft tapping sound halts, and Adam hears the rustle of robes. You may go. But remember this, my child. Dread swells inside Adam as God delivers his final message. I always find out the truth. And if you're lying to me or keeping secrets, you know I cannot save you from the consequences that will follow because even I have my limits. Do I make myself clear? Yes. He tries to keep the tremor out of his voice. This poor man. Are you certain? You don't sound as confident as you normally do. Yes, Father, I'm certain. Then you are freed from your sins. By God's will. You may go. Adam forces himself into a stand, despite his shaking legs before he rips open the door, and tries to remain calm as he exits the repurposed church, keeping his eyes trained forward. He refuses to take another look at the mosaic that mocks his own struggles from above. By the time he reaches the rental car, he collapses into the driver's side. He's breathing so hard, his breath coming in quick pants as he rests his forehead against the steering wheel, one of his hands clutching his shirt like he's searching for a lifeline to keep him grounded. He needs to leave before anyone sees him. To panic is to admit guilt, and he's panicking. In the middle of his struggle, he feels his phone buzz and he reaches for it with trembling fingers before grinding out it. What? As soon as he answers, the other end stays quiet before Saffron's voice filters through. I see that you met up with him, but I'm calling to inform that they're starting to wake up. Adam's breath catches. Finally, some good news. I'll be there. He hangs up before taking another minute to collect himself as he starts the car. Adam spots a shadow in the window and his gut clenches, but he doesn't have enough time to discern whether or not he is standing there watching Adam's every move. He needs to pay you a visit. Saffron. Ooh, Saffron's POV? I miss Saffron. My little weird cannibal freak. Saffron stands beside the arch window that peers out towards the church parking lot, holding his cell phone in a tight grip. Unbeknownst to Adam, he too was called upon by God. He was to remain out of sight until God permitted Adam to leave so he could witness the truth of the situation. Saffron overheard the conversation in the confessional. Then he watches as Adam broke down before he sped out of the lot. He witnessed everything in the exact sequence of events that God predicted would happen. Saffron didn't need to tell God anything. From the moment Saffron answered his phone, he already knew something was going on with Adam. that the young man refused to share or talk about with either of them. Okay, God forbid a man have like a private romance life. He's just a little bit horny. God had called for a meeting in an effort to allow Adam to come clean and share all the events from that day. But he hadn't. Instead, he kept quiet, keeping everything from God, while Saffron only knew Adam intended to keep you alive because he claimed you were useful to him. Saffron didn't know the full story because Adam refused to let him in. He thought God would be different. Adam respected God. So if he couldn't make Adam open up, then they have a real problem on their hands. And Saffron's grip on his phone tightens. It's obvious that Adam won't be keeping his end of the deal. Not with how reckless and out of control he's acting. Footsteps echo as they approach Saffron, stopping just a few feet shy from where he's standing. Saffron does not turn to face him. Doing so would go against the strict rules that he and the other band members are required to abide by. Wait, so the other band members are part of this as well? I thought it was just Saffron and, Adam. I suppose they all kind of have like biblical names though, like Cain and King. I don't remember the other cake band member name. God may gaze upon you, but never you upon him. Page 132. Paragraph 4 of the doctrine. You follow my instructions. It isn't a question. I always do what is asked of me. You know that, Father. Adam did too, and now he's straying. Am I wrong to assume he called me here in order to help save him? God hadn't taken the opportunity to cleanse Adam, but let him walk free instead. So that's the only conclusion he can come to. God wasn't just giving Adam a chance to unveil all of his mistakes, but for Saffron to see into the bitter truth of the matter as well. Your very existence is bringing Adam to ruin. Well, look, I'm sorry, I'm just thick, I guess. The situation is far worse than he realized. There's no one else I can ask, and no one else who cares about that boy as much as I do. And what will you have me do? He asks as he looks down his phone from where he received word that you're awake. You know my expectations. Save him. Or remain discreet in how you go on about it. Am I gonna be onion rings? That's all I ask. Saffron hears the retreating of footsteps and closing of a door. He no longer feels God's presence, but the will of his words linger, and Saffron must obey his will or Adam truly will fall. Yay! Finally, I'm here! Dying absolutely sucks. One moment you're trying to maim your stalker slash would-be killer, and the next you're getting shot by your aunt and falling into aforementioned stalker's arms. Of all the faces he had to witness while keeling over, it was his? Oh my god! I see he has an apple. Is that for me? Wow! I'm so proud of you, Jesus, that's massive! They're so distracting. You watch as he carves into an apple. A shiny red strip of skin hangs from flesh before he plucks it off, and places a now peeled apple on the table beside him before grabbing another one. He hasn't noticed you observing him, so you take the opportunity to look around. The room you find yourself in seems to be devoid of color. There's nothing but plain white walls and flooring, while the room itself leaks of bleach and disinfectant, which is likely the reason for your pulsing headache. You glance back at Adam. The only splash of color around is a giant purple grape in an otherwise empty fruit bowl. Giant purple grape! If only you could squish him like one, though it's odd. Now that you're giving him a closer look, he's pretty. Why does the air around him seem so... You squint and try concentrating to try and figure out exactly what seems so off about him. Oh, what the hell? You withhold a gasp as a sharp pain sears through your head. You clutch your face with a wince. You feel like someone just swung an axe down into your skull, the pain zipping all the way down the length of your spine to the tips of your toes. To your relief, the pain doesn't last long. Almost as soon as it appears, it dissipates, like you never experienced the feeling at all. When you peer up again, Adam's back to normal. Whatever you saw must have just been a trick of the light. Brushing off the odd experience, you chose to focus on something that doesn't strain your vision, which turns out to be Adam and his presence. Did you die? Are you hallucinating? Or are you asleep? You sigh at the thought and nestle deeper into your pillows. Not Adam being my sleep paralysis demon. Or wait, no, if I'm dead then... You try mulling this over while rolling onto your side, but get caught up in a bunch of tubes hooked into your skin, making the transition impossible. What the... As you lift your arm to examine the IV injected into the side of your elbow, you hear a harsh thunk come from Adam's direction. His fingers are curled around the hilt of his knife from when he's just embedded it into the table, and he smirks at you. Really? You can't help but roll your eyes at the display. Why are we showboating when, like, you know, hours ago you were panicking about me dying and practically on your knees like a bottom? Yes, Adam, you know how to stab things. Good for you. Everyone knows how intimidating you are. The words that follow are even worse. About time you joined the living. I was getting tired of waiting. Adam says and hauls himself to his feet. A smooth movement despite how exhausted he appears. Dark circles smudging beneath his darkened eyes that flash red with malice. Did his injuries keep him up at night? You sure hope they did. What? Adam demands when he sees you openly staring at him, his hands curling around the railing of your bed as he glowers down at you with his typical stick-up-the-arse demeanor. You can't help but give a condescending smirk of your own. You look like shit. Why don't you take a look in the freaking mirror? You're the one tied down to a hospital bed, not me. Unlike you, pretty boy, I don't have to worry about saving face for a bunch of fans. Too bad they can't see you now.
Don't call me that.
What? Pretty boy? Why? Because the only thing good about you is your face? Because it sure as hell isn't your personality. That needs major adjustment. I'm sure being behind bars would fix that. Better yet, the death penalty. Considering how many people you probably killed.
You never know when to shut up, do you?
No, I did not. It's one of my best traits.
I think I preferred you comatose.
Wow, great bedside manner you have there. Did you run around chewing elderly patients to get your kicks when you couldn't get them from me? Or at least you have to assume that there's other patients floating around considering the room you're tucked in. It's got ER written all over it. A vein throbs at Adam's temple over your comment. What? Did I hit a sore spot? You quirk your brow in a challenge and Adam jabs a finger in your direction.
I saved your ass by bringing you here. I bet it's clear I should have let you bleed out of the trailer floor. You should be grateful, little devil. You're still alive because of me.
Oh. See, you can give nicknames, but I can't. Why am I not surprised by the hypocrisy? Speaking of which, I wouldn't even be in this position if it wasn't for you. You stabbed me and hunted me down. So tell me, what am I exactly thanking you for? Go on. I want to know how your egotistical brain justifies this.
You're in this hospital because your aunt shot you, not me.
And why did she shoot me? Oh yeah, she was initially aiming for you. You say sitting up in your bed because you'd rather not spend another minute having him loom over you. You never let him have the advantage of acting like he's above you. You'd rather get shot again. Why don't you try making a better case for yourself? Because if you ever look into a career as a lawyer, you'd suck at it. Adam's lips curl into a snarl.
You're defending her, when she didn't give a shit about you when you collapsed and fell unconscious.
Oh, and I suppose you did. You bark out a harsh laugh. You're unreal, Adam. I understand why she did what she did. You put her into that position and made her snap. You tortured her and antagonized her and invaded her home, and you were the reason everything went down the way it did. You think you can gaslight me into believing you? That you're a better person because you brought me here and she was the actual villain? You're a joke if you think that. No, I'm alive because you're attracted to me.
You're alive because I need you.
Oh? You want to use me for something, even better. And here I thought you were trying to lead me into belief that you actually cared. You clasped your hands in mock delight. So what do you need me for? Sex? Information? To act like a human punching bag? Because if it's for sex, then you're gonna have a rude awakening since I'll freaking castrate you before you even get the chance to touch me. I wanna get down with the cactus. I mean, Yandere, have some standards. I'll get down with Adam eventually, not right now though. We need to go from enemies to actual lovers. He watches a red flush creeps up his neck at your response. He's gripping the railing so hard and eyeing the cable belonging to your heart monitor for so long that you're sure he's debating on using it to choke you out. You don't care. You're wishing you could do the same after everything he's put you through. There's not a human alive who you hate as much as Adam. Adam says nothing as he reaches into his back pocket and tosses a handful of photos into your lap. You frown as you reach for one of the glossy photographs and realize you're staring at a picture of you on the night you entered your aunt's trailer. The light from Saffron's reefer truck illuminates your face. You see the building dread reflected in your eyes as you try preparing yourself to face off with Adam. You let the photograph fall from your fingertips and you gesture towards the picture, trying to discern exactly why he's showing you these, or the reason they were taken in the first place. What is this?
Insurance. So you behave and do what I tell you.
What do you mean by that? Adam says nothing as he reaches for the remote next to your bedside and clicks on a small TV hanging in the corner of the room. He brings up the news channel and a recording of a broadcast, one that shows the date after you entered your aunt's trailer. Dread fills your stomach. You watch as the camera pans in on a news anchor, a woman with dark shoulder-length hair and sparkling green eyes, no doubt in her early 20s as she addresses the audience with a somber expression. Beneath her, the news ticker reveals that a fire broke out in a trailer park. Your heart sinks in your chest. Our leading story today takes place in Blue Acres, a trailer park located on the outskirts of Park Bend, Arizona, where a fire broke out in the middle of the night. Sources say that the fire started through unknown means. We have Pamela currently on the scene. There's a moment of transition where another news anchor stands at the entrance of the trailer park. A worn-down welcome sign stands at her left. The woman herself wears a somber expression. This is Pamela coming to you live from just outside Blue Acres. According to authorities, the owner of the trailer where the fire broke out was nowhere to be found. She turns and gestures to the burnt trees positioned at the far end of the park. While damages were kept to a minimum, the owner of the trailer where the source of the fire started has now been deemed missing by officials. Ruth's picture pops up on screen. Her age, name, and general information like her height and weight are listed. If anyone has any information on Ruth Aspen's whereabouts, please contact the numbers listed below. The rest of her words are lost in your ears as you register what they're saying. She was alive and holding a gun the last time you saw her. So what happened after you lost consciousness? Saffron killed her. An even bigger question is why Adam of all people is showing you this. What? You say slowly, your hands tangling in the fabric of your blanket. Did you do to her? Adam lifts the remote and turns off the TV.
What do you think I did?
And when you see that smirk on his face, you know he must have killed her. While you were passed out, he killed her and set the place ablaze before bringing you here. He wanted you to know she was dead. You bastard! You're springing out of your bed, the IVs tearing out of your arm as you grip Adam by the front of his shirt. The photos drift to the floor amidst the chaos. You killed her! You killed my aunt! You tried shoving him backwards, but he remains firmly in place. Rage makes you see red and you're reaching behind you in search of anything that you can throw at him, and find a small vase fitted with a fake potted plant. You chuck the ceramic at his head with all your pent-up rage, wanting to ruin him for what he's done. Adam dodges the attack with ease. The vase shatters against the wall and Adam watches you with blatant detachment as you storm to hit him and beat on his chest. You try tearing into him, wanting him to feel just as much anguish as your aunt probably felt in her final moments. Wanting to convey how awful it must have been, but unable to. She's dead. She's really dead. All because you were trying to find a place to hide but wound up dragging her into this entire mess and now she's gone. And there's not one ounce of regret on this man's face over it. She had nothing to do with this and you killed her. You ignore the strain of your injuries and your body cries a complaint as you rampage upon the man who feels the need to destroy everything in his path. Your rage is white hot. It almost drowns out the guilt eating away at you. See, one of the reasons why I really like you and him is that me and Adam just absolutely hate each other right now. And I'm really excited to see how it progresses and how we actually end up getting together. The knowledge that your presence brought on her death. It doesn't matter whether she was a good or bad person. What matters is that you involved her in her ongoing feud with Adam and she died as a result. You wanted me. So why the hell did you have to take her life instead? Hands circle your wrists as Adam restrains you and holds your balled up fists away from his body, restricting your movements like a set of manacles. He tips his head up.
She did what no one should ever do,
he says as he leans closer to you, his voice dripping to that dangerous octave you know so well by now.
She got in my way.
Ooh, decisions. I think we'll pick this one. Because I don't want to be too mean to Adam on my main playthrough, but we'll go back and explore the other options later.
I'll make you pay for what you've done.
Maybe I can't kill you, but I'll certainly do my best to make your life an absolute living nightmare. You know why, Adam? Because I know your one true weakness. And I'm going to do everything in my power to use it against you. The words spark something behind the darkened depths of those eyes.
I wouldn't expect anything less from a little devil.
You tear your wrist from his grasp, pitting him with a glare that doesn't even begin to describe the hatred you feel for him. He's making you into the worst possible version of yourself. Never in your wildest dreams did you want someone to suffer so badly. But Adam, you gladly watch this man get what's coming to him. As you take another step back, eyes roaming around the room for another projectile, your foot makes contact with something glossy. The photos. You peer down at them. Let me take a wild guess. These are for blackmailing me, right? Proof that I was the last one seen at the place of a potential crime. Adam smirks.
As I said, they're insurance.
You refuse to cooperate and those pictures will get leaked to law enforcement.
It's as simple as that.
What about your traces of DNA? Adam looks at his nails, unimpressed by your attempts to ruffle him. He answers your question with a response that pretty much confirms your earlier suspicions.
I have people in high places. There may have been someone at the scene who scrubbed any evidence of me away. Who's to say?
You're right in not reporting to law enforcement. You doubt that they would have been any actual help, and you can only imagine how much worse your fate would have been. They probably would have tried to pin you with some ludicrous stalking charge and attempted murder as soon as you stepped through the damn door. Still, maybe if you had, Ruth would still be alive. You ball your hands into fists, glaring up at him. And if I don't care?
Then we go with the second option.
He closes the gap between you two, his large frame eating up your entire field of vision until he's all you can see. It's like he wants to consume your entire world, leaving just himself at the center of your focus, so that no one else can take your attention away. Which sounds about right for this obsessive arsehole.
I've got word that you're traveling to meet someone after you stopped by your aunt's, leading me to suspect that it was likely another relative or friend, someone you're close to. There's not a lot of records on your aunt considering she was desperate to hide herself. So much so that she married your uncle in order to change her last name to make it that much harder to find and identify her. But I did happen to find the divorce records. Adam's smile broadens into one of cold cruelty and you stiffen at the sight. This seems to spur him on. You catch a whiff of lavender as Adam leans in closer, the smell further unsettling you since you've grown used to the copper tang of blood that always seems to follow him wherever he goes. You try not to react, knowing that's what he's aiming for by invading your space like this. But you're unable to save face when he asks his next question. How's he doing, by the way? Your uncle, I mean. Don't you dare, wouldn't I?
He barricades you between his arms. Well, Yiddy, this is a serious situation. Gripping the railing of the hospital bed as he cocks his head in a mocking fashion. I'll barricade you somewhere else later, Adam.
If you don't cooperate, who knows what I might do to your uncle. I'm capable of anything. Your aunt's dead and buried because of me, so what's stopping me from taking another?
Leave my uncle out of this.
And how are you gonna stop me, little devil? Because as I see it, you either have a choice to behave or I tie you down so you can watch as I slit his throat. So tell me, what's it gonna be?
Why don't we go with option C where I stick these photos up your... You cut off mid-sentence as the door to your room swings open, and the doctor with peppered hair in his early 30s walks in holding a clipboard.
Behind him, a familiar figure follows after.
God damn it.
Emerald green eyes sweep over the scene before him. It looks like he's puzzling something out. The way he takes in the pictures on the floor and Adam's arms caging you in. Dr. Boone, could you please give us a moment alone? The doctor peers up from his clipboard, appearing surprised. His eyes taking in the IVs you ripped out of your arm when you leapt out of your bed. You can see him worrying with something before finally nodding. He tucks the clipboard under his arm. Yes, of course. Please contact the nurse's station if you need anything from me. I do mean anything. There's another look of mutual understanding between the two. Saffron gives the doctor a pleasant smile. I'm not sure that's necessary, but I appreciate the offer. Thank you, Dr. Boone. The doctor nods before leaving, paying you, the patient, no mind. Oh, cool. Just what you wanted. A doctor willing to get rid of the skeletons in Saffron's closet, one of which will no doubt be yours. Isn't friendship sweet? You shake your head with a sardonic smile. Trapped alone in a hospital with 2 serial killers and a doctor willing to look the other way. What could go wrong? I beg your pardon?
It's nothing. And you can drop the prim and proper act, considering I now know you and Mr. Obsessed and Repressed are working in cahoots.
I'm afraid I don't understand what you mean. This is how I always conduct myself.
It's true. He is kind of like a prim and proper cannibal, so he's just as creepy all the time. Man, to think I wanted to kiss Saffron before. Once upon a time.
Adam draws away from you, his eyes never leaving Saffron. What are you doing here? Considering they'll be under the guise of working with me as Cake's social media manager, I figured it was best if I come.
Say what now?
Social media manager? What are you talking about? I was informed you're well equipped in navigating social media and handling content, as well as taking photo ops and the like because of what you do for a living. Since you'll help Adam for the foreseeable future, we need a plausible reason for you to spend time with him. As such, you'll have Adam work under the guise of working to curate our social media.
Okay, but that doesn't answer what Adam really needs me for.
That picture I showed you. Do you remember it?
Yeah? Kinda hard to forget when he shoved it in your face and demanded details on what you knew about the women in the photo.
I'm looking for one of the women in it.
You mean the one with the curly brown hair who looks like you? Adam's gaze narrows and his jaw ticks.
No, I'm searching for the woman standing next to your aunt. The one with the blonde hair.
What does that have to do with me?
You're one of the few people alive connected to Ruth. And because of that, you're one of the only leads I have to finding this woman.
What, so you expect that she told me about her personal life? And I'll know something about the woman you're looking for. Saffron's gaze flickers to Adam for a brief moment. It's so quick you almost miss it. That look just now.
Are you saying you have no information on this woman?
None at all. Saffron's creepy look is way scarier than Adam's. I'll be honest. He steps forward and there's a faint gleam in his eye. Like a wolf that's just seen an injured rabbit ready to go in for the kill. It's clear as day what he's thinking. Adam can sense it too by the way he stiffens.
Don't.
He maneuvers his body so he's practically standing in front of you, almost acting like a shield. Never in your life did you think that the man that stabbed you and hunted you down would act as a protective presence. But here you are, alive to witness it. Or maybe this is more of a this is my prey sort of ordeal. Adam dances between hot and cold half the time to the point where you're pretty sure even he's confused on what he wants. Not to mention that he literally just threatened to kill your uncle. But at least you're no longer face to face with hungry eyes over there. You're taking your wins where you can get them at this point.
I'm simply asking a question, and all I desire is an answer. I would assume inquiries are needed if I were to see if they'll provide any use. Otherwise, what's the point of letting them linger? They'll provide use. How can you be so sure? How can you be so certain when they haven't confirmed whether or not they know anything? You're putting a lot of stock into them, Adam, and I'm beginning to question the real reasoning as to why you're so insistent on keeping them around.
The room goes silent. Oh no! Man, I never realized how much bigger than Saffron Adam was. Like, Saffron himself is quite, like, muscly. Because you can see his biceps, but Adam is actually huge. The room goes silent. You can practically feel Adam eyeing the knife he wedged into the table. Great. Is there gonna be bloodshed between these two? Because if that's the case, you don't want any part of it. I would like to get out the ride, thanks. Maybe you should bail while they're distracted. Bail, surely no one will notice. Stay here. Leaving is a bad idea for a number of reasons. I think we'll stay here first and see what happens. For one, you're still injured and recovering. 2, Adam just threatened your uncle and you don't want to put another one of your relatives in harm's way again. 3, Saffron has powers of one of the doctors here. And that same doctor essentially hinted at doing anything Saffron asked of him, which probably includes murder. And last but not least, reason number 4. The strangest of them all, Adam, is no longer a physical threat to you. While it's clear he wants to kill you, what happened in the trailer proved he can't. He wants you physically. Woohoo! And because of that desire, no doubt birthed from the kiss he planted on him, he's intent on keeping you away from Saffron, who poses a threat to your life. That much you're certain though. So for the time being, it's best to take all of the above into account and stay where you are. This is the perfect moment in time to rest, and then plan on ahead. When Adam speaks after a long pause, his voice takes on that familiar threatening quality. Only it's not directed at you this time.
What I want to know,
Adam says, his voice dripping with acid,
is why you're so hell-bent on questioning me when I already explained everything to you earlier. You and I both know That just because they don't remember anything right now doesn't mean they don't prove useful or remember something later down the line.
That is true. Why are you out to get me?
And because of that, I'm not letting you freaking touch them. They're my only lead to getting my answers. If that's the case, then couldn't you say the same about the man Ruth was formerly married to?
Oh, come on!
I'd say you know far more than they do. Which leads me to my other freaking point. He jerks his thumb over his shoulder and in your direction. Even on the off chance they can't recall anything, they can still provide an opportunity for me to speak with their uncle, or any other possible family members who might know more about Ruth's past. Yes, I could cut my losses and torture the fucker. But if there's a chance he's anything like Ruth, he'll die and I'll wind back up at square one if I go about it this way. There's less of a chance for me to lose the lead than I already have, and I can utilize them as a means of getting their family to open up about what they know. You of all people should know how important connections are. So there. Is that a good enough freaking reason as to why I'm keeping them alive? Or are you gonna ask more stupid freaking questions? There's a moment of silence, and despite Adam standing between the two of you, you can still feel Saffron's ravenous gaze by the way your skin crawls. Your suspicions are confirmed when you peer around Adam and are greeted by emerald eyes staring straight at you. You resist the urge to curl your lip in repulsion. Saffron's looking at you like a piece of decadent cake placed on a shelf that's just out of reach. You know some people think you're a snack, but Saffron's taking it way too far.
Yeah, he is, because he's a literal cannibal.
Adam notices the same thing because he shifts so that you're out of the other man's line of sight. It's subtle, but Saffron's eyes narrow as he forced to focus on Adam again. I see. He says that at last. There's something off about the way he says it too. Like he's starting to piece together a puzzle he couldn't figure out before, and now it's all coming together thanks to that one gesture. You feel like Adam just started a catalyst. You're not sure for what quite yet, but you know something has changed, and you're afraid of the consequences that will follow.
Yeah, I really don't want any part of this. Can I just go home? Like, can you leave me alone, please? I don't want to be drawn into whatever this is.
If that's all, then leave. As I've stated before, I came here to explain what they'll be doing under my leadership. And where in that sentence? Adam says as he eats up the distance between him and Saffron in 3 quick strides. Did I ask? I was making a statement. A command, not a request. Leave. Now.
Saffron sighs, like he's dealing with a teenager demanding his father get out of his room rather than someone who could potentially murder him.
Very well, but Adam...
He doesn't wait for the singer to respond as he clamps a hand down on his shoulder.
I think you're forgetting one very important detail, and I think it's best I remind you of that now before you forget.
Ooh, man, I hate how awful Saffron is and how gross he is because he is actually quite hot. His next words are muted as he whispers something in Adam's ear. Whatever he's saying makes Adam go rigid. His hands ball into fists and the veins in his arms pop out as he restrains himself, no doubt itching to lash out in the most violent way possible. You're surprised he doesn't. And why you can't make out what Saffron is saying. You're sure it's got something to do with you by the way Saffron refuses to break eye contact. You want to look away, but then Saffron's lips begin to tug up at the corners, and a slow eerie smile begins to split his face apart. You forget how to breathe. The entire world stills and you feel like you just hopped onto the set of some horror movie. You get the insane urge to grab the metal chair that Adam was sitting in earlier and beat the ever-loving shit out of Saffron with it, until he crumbles to the floor. You don't care if your stitches break in the process. This evil needs to go. I agree.
You've seen enough horror movies to know how this ends. You got to exercise this guy real quick. Unless you want your decapitated head acting as a centerpiece or a table spread made from your severed limbs. You need to wait until a later date though. You got other things to prioritize first, like ensuring your uncle's safety. Then you can take care of the big bad. Not today, Cannibal Lecter. Not today. Saffron seems to acknowledge this as well because he draws away from Adam, his sinister smile replaced by his usual polite disposition. Now if you'll excuse me. I have other matters to attend to. Please take care. Adam remains quiet as Saffron brushes past him. He doesn't even react when the door closes behind his manager with a soft click, leaving the two of you alone. He's so still that you wonder if he's even breathing.
Poke the proverbial bear. Yeah, poke him. Poke him now. Whoop.
You got to,
because at least you know what you're in for when he's annoyed. Why, yes, Adam, the floor is looking very flawed today. Lo and behold, the comment works. Adam lifts his head, his eyebrows furrowing into an angry V.
Do you ever shut up?
There's the arsehole we all know and would like to run over with a truck. Now, are you done brooding over your short little ASMR session with Saffron, or are you going to continue standing there? Because I would like to take a nap if you don't mind.
There's nothing stopping you from sleeping.
Oh yes, because I can totally sleep knowing there's a stab-happy man in the same room as me. You give him a pointed look. Adam's jaw ticks.
I'm not leaving this room.
Well then sit down so I don't feel like Nosferatu is looming over me.
I'm not a vampire.
Oh, but you look it. The inverted cross, your dark purple aesthetic, and let's not forget your gloomy nobody understands me attitude. Really reads like you were ripped out of some shitty Breaking Brawn fanfic. You yawn as you slip back into your bed, leaning back against the swath of pillows, the strain on your body finally registering. Jeez. Shot and then stabbed within days of each other. It's a wonder how you survived anything. Either way, at least you can rest in an actual bed now instead of on the front seat of your car.
Despite your claims about struggling with sleep with Adam in the same room, you're close to passing out when the singer speaks. Hey, you groan, not even bothering to open your eyes.
What now? Didn't I make it clear that I'm trying to sleep?
Just listen, it's important.
Adam pauses and you hear the sound of him picking something up.
Whatever you do, don't let yourself get caught in a situation where you're alone with Saffron. Understand?
His words are harsh, but there's something else too. If you were dumber, you'd mistake it for genuine worry. But this is Adam you're talking about. You crack open an eyelid and discover he's resumed peeling the apple he started on earlier. Do I look like I have a death wish?
Yes or no, it's a simple question.
Yes. Happy? Adam doesn't respond, his eyes boring into yours as he searches for a lie with your response. Is this guy serious right now? I'm so interested. It's so interesting to see because Adam hates us so much, but he doesn't want anyone else to have us because it's like the whole only I'm allowed to hate you kind of deal. Which I feel like why Adam is so interesting to me because he's like one of the yanderes that starts out just completely hating you and genuinely wanting you gone, and that turns into an obsession and a sort of attraction towards you. He's starting to make your head hurt again. Would you like to hear how much I prefer chewing off my own foot over sitting alone in a room with that guy? Or do you really think I'm that stupid?
You tell me.
I just did.
Well, I'm just fucking asking because...
A small condescending smirk tugs at his mouth.
This is the first time you and I have ever seen eye to eye on something, little devil.
Saffron's POV. Interesting. I do really like the addition of Saffron. I think he's genuinely so creepy. Like, Adam is a victim at the end of the day. It doesn't absolve him of his shitty actions, but you can tell there's a lot of trauma that's caused him to be like that. I think Saffron is like messed up, and he's so creepy and very, very calculating. Saffron finds his old friend waiting for him within the ER security room. While it's rare for hospitals to have such a setup, Dr. Boone ensured that one was put in place for a number of reasons. Well, screw Dr. Boone, I hate that guy. None of them are for ethical reasons, Dr. Boone watches the monitor as the man thrashes around on the gurney, wailing his head off and screaming for help. It's a useless endeavor. The hospital is set up with a number of soundproof rooms with disrupted patients. He's wasting his breath, though he's unaware of the fact. The patient's thrashing gets worse as the surgeon approaches him, tugging on their plastic gloves while their eyes glimmer with morbid fascination. There's someone on standby holding a bag full of liquid meant to preserve the organs they pull from the patient. Oh God! The surgeon turns on the overhead light, and the operation begins as Saffron stands behind Dr. Boone.
I assume all is running smoothly.
Yes, we're a well-oiled machine, especially thanks to your help. Your connections have done wonders for this facility and our finances. Dr. Boone turns to Saffron. But I know you're not here to soak up praise for your efforts. I assume things went as expected?
Correct.
Saffron watches the surgeon on screen with a critical eye as he makes his first cut on the patient. He's still awake and thrashing around. Blood bubbles up from where he's cut and Saffron tries to ignore the gnawing hunger stemming from his gut. Your face. The tender shape of your body. You make him feel insatiable.
I purposely provoked Adam and I learned a few interesting details while observing him. He's become defensive as mock, and I believe he's formed an unhealthy attachment to their presence. Getting them alone won't be easy.
Dr. Boone sighs.
I apologize for not realizing sooner. I would have never put them through surgery had I known. That's no fault of your own. And it's likely Adam would have laid the blame on me had things gone conveniently south. I was surprised when he came in without you. I assume you had other matters to attend to?
Yes. And I'm beginning to understand why it was asked that I do this discreetly. If I outright kill them without some forethought, it's anyone's guess what Adam will do given his nature. Saffron lets his gaze momentarily drift over to Dr. Boone. Adam has never shown this level of interest in anyone, so I need to put up a plan in place that allows for his attachment to disintegrate entirely. Then when their bond is severed, I can do what's necessary. And I'm assuming you got something in mind. You catch on quick, old friend. Man, why is everybody out to kill me? Saffron smiles as he looks back at the CCTV footage. I've known you long enough to pick up on your train of thought. But as I said before, I'm here if you need anything, and I'll call upon you when the time is right. But first I must focus on laying out the groundwork. Then when they're no longer under Adam's protection, Saffron allows his fingers to trail along the screen of the computer monitor where the patient lies unresponsive. The man's gone limp as the surgeon pulls aside the cut-out flaps of skin, pinning them in place, exposing the soft intestines and chunks of flesh waiting underneath. At least give the poor man some anesthetic, Jesus! But it's not the man Saffron sees lying there. It's a person he craves the most in the world. You. Alright, dude. You know what? Just say you're attracted to me. Why do I attract all the worst ones? His fingers flex as he drags his nail down the screen, imagining you splayed out beneath him, your chest in an open cavern, your ribs cracked and parted, your intestines glistening under the glow of the fluorescent lighting. A fruit ripe for the taking. And once he's done everything he needs to in order to pluck you, I'll let myself indulge in the most wonderful feast. Man. Saffron, I'm really not into vor. Park Bend Emergency Department, 3 p.m. 2 weeks later. I've been here for 2 weeks. God damn, I must be going stir crazy. Over the next few weeks of recovery, your well-being is ensured by the ER staff. You don't see Dr. Boone again. Good! And Saffron only shows up when he goes over the details of your arrangement. Adam is a different story. He visits every single day. Most of the time he sits in silence like a careful watchdog, and other times he's sharpening his blade or cutting into an apple that he leaves you slices of. He never eats them himself. You wonder if the man never sleeps because every time you wake up he's staring at you, his gaze unwavering. Sometimes you get into arguments about it. Other times you attempt to ignore it. Mostly because whenever you get too riled up, you start getting headaches even though you're not sure why. The doctors suspect it's due to anemia after the loss of so much blood. But they're surprised that there's no other outside factors paired with it, all things considering. You should have died back there. But somehow you managed to pull through. When the time finally comes for you to leave the hospital, it's both a relief and a concern. A relief because you'll no longer be tied down to a hospital bed, but a concern because you're going to meet the rest of Adam's band. The other members of Cake. Woohoo! I like the other members of Cake. I'm excited to see how unhinged they all are. I think out of them at the moment, my favorite is King, Ethan, and Kane. Oh yeah, his name is Ethan. You recall seeing them plaster alongside Adam on numerous billboards and articles and social media outlets. They all appear close on screen, friendly even. You can only imagine what they're really like. You can't imagine anyone hanging around Adam or Saffron not having homicidal tendencies. You shudder at the idea of surrounding yourself with such violent men, and try not to think about it as you tuck yourself further into the backseat of the car Saffron picked you up in. Adam keeps eyeing you through the rearview mirror. Alright dude, you might as well just sit next to me back here, come on. Don't even think of trying to jump out, he says when you catch him looking at you for the 1000th time. Oh yeah, that's so easy with the childproof safety locks turned on, you say and rattle the door handle for emphasis. I'm totally making my grand escape. Given your personality, I wouldn't put past you to get so desperate that you try breaking out through the window. Good to know that you realize I'd rather be a bug on someone else's windscreen than deal with your presence in a confined space. And for your information, I've been signaling cars passing by while mouthing SOS when you weren't looking. The look Adam gives you is scathing. You smirk at him. All I'm asking is that you freaking behave yourself and not act like a fox with its legs stuck in a trap. It's a bit hard, Adam, when you killed my aunt, threatened my uncle, and tried to stab me multiple times. This again. You sigh before resting your head against the car window. The world flies by in a blur of familiarity of the city doing nothing to bring you comfort. You ache for the days when you didn't fear for your life. Look, I only agreed to work with you and hungry eyes over there in return for my uncle's safety. If I was gonna run, don't you think I would have done so already? Considering you're recovered for the most part, I wouldn't put it past you to come up with some stupid escape plan. He's not wrong, but he doesn't need to know you're just biding your time until you can find your way out of the screwed up situation. You rub the bridge of your nose, wording yourself carefully. Outright lying just pisses him off and you don't need the headache. I'm not gonna take the risk of you following through with your threat. Especially after learning what you did to my aunt. As I said before, I'm not stupid. And Adam, just so we're clear, I'd rather die before I freaking let you touch or drag another innocent person into this. Your gaze collides with his. It's like two swords getting locked into a battle of wills, both of you refusing to back down against the other. Adam's gaze narrows. He opens his mouth, but his words are lost when Saffron clears his throat. He seizes unspoken words. For now, the symphony dies down to a soft hum as Saffron interjects. If you two are finished, I'd like to remind you both that you need to be on your best behavior. I received word that there's a slew of paparazzi waiting for us outside the hotel, and would prefer to keep them from witnessing an argument between you two. What? You wouldn't pay them off? I prefer not to, though I will if my hand is forced. If that happens, I'm holding you accountable and I do not care if Adam needs you. You intentionally messing up his image is not something I will tolerate. Okay, I get it. I already said I behaved myself, I was just curious. You turn your attention back to the window, and it's at that moment you realize you reach the hotel. As Saffron said, there's a number of paparazzi on standby. Flashes of cameras go off and you try and blink to clear out the stars from your eyes. You hear people screaming Adam's first name, his last name. It's a wonder your eardrums don't burst. Freaking nuisances. Adam mutters as Saffron pulls the car into the parking lot. Stay by my side, Saffron says, killing the engine as he speaks to you. Do not walk beside Adam and keep your head down. Do not speak to anyone. We'll follow behind Adam at the rear, and we'll keep that formation until we step inside the hotel and have reached our rooms. You can sort of guess why Saffron's giving you these instructions. If anyone sees you and Adam side by side, they might get the wrong idea and suspect you're not on his team but his love. They're walking next to me. Okay, Adam, calm down. Jesus. Man, this guy really wants me, huh? Adam, if I allow that then deal. Pay the paparazzi off. I don't care what you have to do, they stay with me. Saffron's hands grip the steering wheel. You think he's about to argue, especially considering how he just berated you about messing up Adam's image, and he's clearly not one to back down, even when facing off with Adam. If that singular interaction back at the hospital when you first woke up is anything to go by, you brace yourself for a verbal sparring match. But to your surprise, Saffron relaxes his shoulders.
As you wish.
He says before he turns off the childproof safety locks. Your mouth almost drops. What the? What's with the sudden shift in behavior? It doesn't make sense. You don't get much time to think about it as you're forced to step out of the car in order to catch up with them, and are immediately bombarded with flashes of light and shouting. You freeze on the spot. Oh crap. You never encountered anything like this. It's like you've entered a whole new world entirely. A hand touches your shoulder and you find Adam smiling down at you, his stage persona on and firmly in place. You almost snort by how ridiculous this feels.
Walk beside me so you don't get lost, okay?
What a switch up, he says, and then starts guiding you behind two security guards who part the way for your small party.
Mr. Gordon, who's that standing beside you? Mr. Gordon, is that your lover?
Mr. Gordon,
when will your tour resume?
Mr. Gordon, is it true that you won Sexiest Man of the Year? Mr. Gordon, the shouts are coming from all around you. You want to cover your ears and distance yourself from the chaos, your body humming with major discomfort. But you force yourself to keep walking. And they're so loud that they're pulling in the onlookers who lose their shit once they take notice of Adam. Arms stretch out. Fingers grab at the open air. Flashes keep going off. It's almost too much to bear. Breathe. You think to yourself. Just a simple inhale and exhale. You try to draw in air, but you're suffocating because of the atmosphere. It's so bad that your hands are starting to shake as anxiety zips through you. It's even worse seeing Adam relaxed and in his element. He dips his head in acknowledgement to the crowd, but he does not answer any of the questions you've thrown at him. How does anyone get used to this? At least with your work and mask, you remain anonymous. You're not a fan of all of this attention. Even if you're not the one that they're here for. You scrunch, your eyes closed.
We're almost there, little devil.
You sure you want to call me that in public? What are those rumors? Man, sucks that Adam is so awful because he's so hot. Adam murmurs. It's a wonder how you can hear him.
Just keep looking forward and ignore the freaking pests. They aren't worth getting worked up over. So unclench your teeth and shoulders.
You blink before peering up at him. Holy shit. Are you actually giving me a pep talk right now? Is this a signal for the end of the days? You feign shock and glance around.
Stop acting like an idiot.
Adam says, keeping the amicable mask on while his lowered voice expresses anything but.
I'm only saying this because you passing out in the middle of a crowd would be obnoxious and inconvenient. Don't mistake my words with genuine care.
I think you care about me, Adam. I think you're in love with me. I figured as much, because being nice and genuine would probably cause you to burst into flames. Don't worry. I'm not stupid enough to believe you have a single humane bone in your body. We've already established that from the first time we met. Speaking of which.
What?
He demands, noticing the way you're now eyeing him.
Just spit whatever you're thinking out already.
Can I just know why?
Why what?
You look off towards the crowd, but instead of a throng of bodies, you recall the day you met on the highway. The sharp, agonizing pain in your shoulders. The coppery scent of blood. Adam's condescending smile. Your jaw sets. Why did you attack me? You finally ask, bringing the unanswered questions that plague you to light. Why do you and Saffron want me dead? Was this just a one-off thing and I just managed to escape? Was this organized? Originally, I thought you were just some serial killer getting his kicks off of hurting innocent people because he could, but now... You shake your head. Does it have something to do with my aunt? I don't... No matter how hard I try to piece it together, I just can't. None of this makes any sense to me. Your temple hurts so bad as you ruminate in these thoughts. But you need answers. You're so tired of not having them. After all of this, you deserve at least one.
Why does it matter?
Adam doesn't look at you. His own gaze distant, as if he's seeing the same thing you're seeing. Because I think I deserve to know how and why I ended up here, instead of continuing on with my life in blissful ignorance, when you're just some famous celebrity I only hear about. Adam considers for a minute, his eyes trailing up to Saffron, almost as if sensing his gaze. Saffron glances over his shoulder, and it feels like there's a silent exchange. When Saffron returns his attention back around, you see Adam's fist clench and you wonder briefly what's going on between the two.
I can't tell you that.
Adam says at last. You can't or you won't.
Can't it be both?
He snaps, keeping his voice low so the crowd doesn't overhear him.
I don't know why you're so stubborn about shit, but sometimes it's best for you to leave things alone if you know what's freaking good for you.
His eyes slice over to yours.
Because when it comes to everything else surrounding me, ignorance is bliss, little devil. Don't ask questions you won't like the answers to.
You're making this sound bigger than it just being you and Saffron. You both step through the glass doors of the hotel with Adam's back to the crowd, his facade dropping in an instant. He smirks.
I'd suggest not digging too deep, little devil.
Why does Saffron look like that? He says, as both of you approach the elevator where Saffron waits, one of his arms folded behind his back while the other hovers over one of the buttons on the operating panel. He too smiles. But while Adam was a warning, Saffron's is a promise. Almost as if he knows the floor he's taking you to will change your worldview forever. Almost as if he knows he's dragging you into a new hell. And there's no coming back from it. You and Adam both step into place beside Saffron, facing the elevator doors as Saffron presses the button, and they close in front of you, right as Adam finally says,
because maybe it is.
Oh, Kane? I missed him. What are you doing? Is that moaning? Oh, he's just crying, okay. Oh, my poor baby. There's a sickening wet thump from inside the alleyway, followed by the sound of something heavy getting dragged. A dark form towers over the shape of another. He's got his hands wrapped around the limp figure's wrists. They're purple and bruised like someone broke them. Jagged cuts that look like they were made from the serrated edges of a knife stare up at him.
Loser, loser. They overlap one another. The blood still fresh from when the words were carved in, ingrained into the corpse's skin like ghastly tattoos. Okay, from playing in the prologue of Cain, I thought that Cain was a nice bub, and he was just a victim of Adam, but now I think he might actually just be pretty bad as well. The man whimpers and he screws his eyes shut as he drags the empty husk further in. He didn't mean to. Oh no, he didn't mean to do it. He swears on his life that he didn't. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. He wishes he could take it back. He wishes he could rewind time and tell himself not to enter the bar and drown that last shot of whiskey, but it's too late and now he's here. All he can remember is the alcohol going down smooth, the dancing, someone pushing him into the bathrooms. He recalls someone's tongue slipping into his mouth, his hands on their waist, their fingers tugging at his hair. Doesn't know if the person was a man or a woman or non-binary. He doesn't even know if it was the corpse now lying at his feet. Doesn't know how he got here. Forgive me. Please forgive me. He says as he peers down at the corpse, a sob ripping through his chest when he sees their glassy eyes. I didn't mean to do it again. I thought it would get better if I joined. I thought I'd be saved. He tucks his head as the feelings of guilt well in his chest, constricting him like chains, dragging him into an abyss he can't break free from. I never thought it would turn out like this. I swear I didn't. I thought God would save me. Another sob tears through him. A yellow light flickers overhead as the form passes underneath its glow. Oh, he's so pretty though. Giddy. He's crying and he's just killed someone, I know. But he's so cute. A man with the tips of his hair dyed green and eyes portraying an eternal state of exhaustion lifts his head up to the skies, his bottom lip quivering. He begs for someone, anyone, to please save me. That's so interesting. Oh, I really like Cain, but it's so sad seeing him in so much pain. Okay. Before I give my final thoughts about this whole thing, I really need to go back and try out some of the other options to see if we get anything else. And also, the game has a new prologue added, so after this I want to check that out as well. Alright, so what happens when we say we'll kill Adam? I'll kill you for this. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but the first chance I get, I'm going to kill you. I wouldn't expect anything less from someone like you. Okay, so that's the only option, and then it just resumes the same path. But I want to skip forward to here and see what happens when we bail. Bail, surely no one will notice. While the two men are locked in a battle of wills, you inch towards the door. You got a small window of opportunity until one of them notices. This might be your only chance to get away. All you need to do is stay quiet before booking it once you're out of the room. Then you can try and go from there. Easy peasy, right? No? Your hand inches towards the handle, your heart thumping as your fingers wrap around the cold knob, waiting for Saffron or Adam to glance over and catch you before you've even got a head start. When neither of them notice, you inch the door open. It's a tedious and anxiety-inducing task, your hands sweating with perspiration. I'm nervous. You got the door open a quarter of the way before you peek into the congested hallway. Outside, there's nurses and doctors bustling past, alongside patients who are either strapped to gurneys or following nurses towards their designated rooms. A woman lying on one of those gurneys has multiple stab wounds to her chest. At the front of her shirt is torn and red blooms along the faded white material, the stains fanning out from her injuries like the stamen on a spider lily. Her unfocused gaze drifts towards you, her eyes glossy. You can't move. You've forgotten your original intention from opening the door. Because looking at this woman, you're reminded of your Aunt Ruth and no doubt the torture she likely endured because of Adam. Did she suffer like this? Lying on the cold, hard floor of a trailer pleading for help while you lay unconscious and unaware of what was happening to her. Adam's words trickle through your mind. How are you gonna stop me, little devil? Because as I see it, you either have a choice to friggin' behave or I tie you down so you can watch as I slit his throat. How could you forget? If you leave now without any sort of plan, your uncle faces the same fate your aunt did. You could call him or try and warn him, but knowing Adam and his relentless nature, he'll burn the entire world down in order to get what he wants. You want to escape this man, but you can't right now. Frustration wells inside of you, and you can feel something crack, the start of a fissure beginning to spread with the added pressure of this knowledge. I can't. You jerk backwards as a knife embeds itself into the wall in front of you. You slowly turn to meet Adam's gaze, his eyes flashing red with barely concealed anger, as he lowers his throwing arm. Where the hell do you think you're going? It's a simple question. One you usually respond to with sarcasm, but you can't seem to find your voice. Your eyes travel back towards the knife. It's the same one that killed Ruth. The same one he'll use to kill your uncle if you choose to escape. You grip your head with one hand. You're trying to catch your breath, but all you can imagine is the blood of your family coating the blade. I asked you a question. A familiar hand grips your shoulder and you slap it away. Your eyes landing on Adam, whose eyes fly wide with surprise at your visceral response. Keep your hands off me. Adam's jaw ticks as he jerks the knife from where he threw it before slamming his hand over your head, shutting the door in the process. Then don't try to freaking leave. You already know what will happen if you do. I'm more than aware. You hiss under your breath, earning one more glare from Adam before he turns to face Saffron, who watches the two of you with quiet interest. Now what I want to know, he says, leveling his knife in Saffron's direction, forcing the conversation back on topic. Okay, so then it goes back to the same path. Alright, so it doesn't deviate too much. What if we just ignore him this time instead of poking him?
As long as he's not bothering you, you're good with anything. You push yourself over the bed railing and wince as you lie back against the swath of pillows. Your body finally registers the strain of your injuries and you hiss through your teeth as you rest a hand over your side from where your aunt shot you. Jeez, shot and then stabbed within days of each other. It's a wonder how you survived anything. You close your eyes, beginning to drift when you hear an irritating voice. Okay, then it goes back to how it was before. Yeah, so that seems to be all of the alternate choices. It doesn't really change too much other than like a bunch of dialogue, which is really interesting to get the context of. I feel like things are definitely ramping up quite a bit, but before I get too into it, I want to check out the new prologue, because there was a new scene that was added to the beginning of this game. So let me just quickly play through this, because I saw the band members of Kate, and those who abandon the will of God, will face his divine judgment, and the spilled blood used to enrich the soil of the world shaped by his vision. Prologue. It's from Adam's perspective too. Minnow, Nevada. The purple-haired singer offers the crowd a beatific smile paired with a small wave. They scream his name. Fans clamoring to get closer, whilst a lineup of security creating a barrier with their bodies. A few of them try reaching around the line of defense, their fingers desperate and outstretched, clawing at empty air. We love you. Please marry me. Have my babies. The cacophony of voices makes his ears want to bleed. He resists the urge to curl his lips in disgust. They're all so freaking annoying, placing him and his bandmates on a pedestal for the simple fact that they're attractive and can carry a tune. The world around him proves how shallow every single human being on this planet is. Day after day, city after city, target after target. There's not a single person out there whose line of thinking he can't predict. Not a single person who stands on equal grounds with him in the slightest. They're all worthless. Although, some people are worse than others, their very existence defiling the sanctity of this world. And those are the people he swore to enact his divine judgment upon. An oath written in blood. The purple-haired singer moves with his bandmates towards the awaiting bus ready to ship them off to the next destination, when he feels a buzz in his pocket. Ooh, my god, I wasn't expecting the booba shot. He pauses at the bottom steps of his tour bus, glancing down at his phone. It's a text, or rather an alert. The purple-haired singer smirks as he skims over the details, studying the location, name, and basic information given to him by an unknown number. But he knows full well who this number belongs to. A month's passed since the last text he received from them, and now he's eager to reach the touring band's next destination, Park Bend, Arizona. He hides a vicious smile as his bloodlust rises like a tide. Hey, the purple-haired singer peers up from his phone, and another man stands atop of the steps of the bus looking down at him. It's Kane! The purple-haired singer can practically smell the smoke coming off his bandmate's clothes. He resists the urge to wrinkle his nose from the acrid scent. Disgusting. The purple-haired singer always hated that smell, and his hatred for it intensifies because of the man standing in front of him and what he says next. His gravelly voice grating on the purple-haired man's nerves. Let's go. You're holding up the bus. It's a command, as though he's got the freaking right to order him around. The purple-haired singer withholds a sneer, knowing full well they've got an entire audience behind them and he can't let his mask slip. Not until they're on the move again. The singer gives the tired-looking man a smile and he plants a foot on the first step. Sorry, got distracted. My bad. For anyone else, the purple-haired singer comes across as apologetic, but the other man's eyes narrow, telling the purple-haired singer he's not fooled by his act, but cannot say much out loud or call him out for it. And tension between the two is palpable when they finally stand on even ground, as the singer reaches the top step, forcing his bandmate to take a step back in order to make room for him. I feel like Adam and Kane hate each other the most. The tour bus's doors close behind them, and the purple-haired singer's facade drops. He gets up in the tired-looking man's face, whose response is to remain firm in his stance despite the purple-haired singer grabbing him by the scruff of his shirt. Don't ever order me around again, or I'll make your life a living hell. The tired-looking man knocks the purple-haired singer's hand away and his gaze narrows. Traveling on the same bus with you already is. The purple-haired singer curls his lips and shoulder checks the other man as he storms past, and there's a low whistle that comes from one of the seats. Mom, the kids are fighting again and it's tearing our family apart. Jake's a different bandmate with an easygoing grin. Hello, Ethan. The man's arms are laced behind his head while he remains seated on one of the plush leather couches, his legs spread out in the center aisle. The purple-haired singer knocks his feet out of the way with a shove of his boot. Oh, piss off. You know, for as many times as you tell me that, I'm starting to think you need a swear jar. Maybe if you collect enough cash, it'll pay for some much-needed therapy bills. There's a soft sigh as a man with light blonde hair fixes him with a cup of tea within the tour bus's kitchen. The steam rolls off of his cup in waves as he brings it to his lips before he speaks, his voice gentle and soft. Please behave yourselves. I understand we're all tired, but still antagonizing one another isn't the way to go about these things. We've still got a long tour ahead of us, so please try to get along. Purple-haired singer curls his lips in annoyance as he strides past them and towards his bunk. Oh, look at that patron freaking saint over here. Let's not fool ourselves into believing that there's an actual freaking possibility, especially with Tweedledee and Tweedle Dipshit over there. Tweedle Dipshit. Aw, aren't the pet names he gives us the cutest? The only downside is I can't figure out who was who. The easygoing bandmate grins at the perpetually tired-looking man. Do you want to be Tweedledee or Tweedle dipshit? Either way, it's getting embroidered into a pillow. You can embroider. No, but when has my lack of knowledge on any given subject ever stopped me? The purple-haired singer doesn't hear the response from his tired-looking bandmate as he heads to the back lounge where they can get some much-needed peace and quiet away from the other band members. When he's out of sight, he draws up the details, all pertaining to you. Despite his tense interactions with his bandmates, he lets out a cold and malicious smile find his way to his lips. He just can't freaking wait to get to the next city. Alright, and that's the new prologue. That was really interesting. I'll be honest though, I'm still very interested to see who told Adam to come after us in the first place. Because remember when he received a bunch of texts telling him that his next target was us? And that he was to take us out? I'm still wondering what that is, because I really want to find out and I'm very curious. But that was the full playthrough for Chapter 4 of You and Him, including all the extra branches. I hope you guys enjoyed that. But yeah, I thought this was really interesting. I think the tension between Adam and Saffron is going to make me very anxious because now they're both terrible, but you are trapped with Adam and Saffron, and the only option that you have to rely on is Adam, unless one of his bandmates comes to your rescue or something. But can you imagine just being trapped with someone awful like Saffron and Adam who has killed your family members? And the only one you can rely on is the murderer that hurt your family, because Saffron is so much worse. Like, I can't even imagine how anxious that would make me. So I think that kind of dynamic is really interesting to show. I'm very excited to see how MC is going to interact with Ethan King and Kane, and how Adam is going to respond to their interactions, because Adam strikes me as someone who's very, very jealous, like incredibly jealous and possessive. So yeah, I really can't wait to see that. Absolute props to Hermit for Chapter 4, and huge congratulations. I adore their story and their writing so much. They are such a creative and wonderful person. So once again, if you guys want to check out the full game, link is in the description box below. And if you like this video, please give a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss out on the next one. And if you want exclusive content from me, such as exclusive playthroughs, uncut spicy scene reactions, and also spicy 2D man and BL art that I do, feel free to head to my Patreon, link is in the description box below. But that's all for now. Thank you so much for hanging out, and until the next fictional man, take care.